Good evening, and welcome to the Township Committee meeting of February the 9th of 2016. Ms. Borak, will you please call the roll?
Committeeman Rashett.
Here.
Committeeman McCauley.
Here.
Committeeman Thompson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Here.
Mayor Delcor.
Here, please join me in a salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be advised that in accordance with Section 5 of the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231 of the Public Laws of 1975, that notice of this meeting was made by the posting on the bulletin board at the Hillsborough Township Municipal Complex and notifying the officially designated newspapers that this meeting would take place at the Hillsborough Township Municipal Complex at 7:30 p.m. on February the 9th of 2016. First on our agenda is approval of the minutes. First is approval of the September 21st, 2015 executive session meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve these minutes?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeeman Rashett.
Abstain.
Committeeman McCauley.
Yes.
Committeeman Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. We also have the approval of the January 12th, 2016 regular session meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the meeting of January the 12th, 2016 regular session?
So moved. Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeeman Rashett.
Yes.
Committeeman McCauley.
Abstain.
Committeeman Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. And we also have the approval of the January 26th, 2016 regular session meeting minutes. May I have a motion to approve the minutes of the January 26th, 2016 regular session?
So moved. Second, Mayor.
Roll call, please.
Committeeman Rashett.
Yes.
Committeeman McCauley.
Yes.
Committeeman Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. We'll move to reports from committee liaisons. First up, Committee Member Shell.
Thank you, Mayor. I just had the honor of giving out one of the awards at the Winter Garden ceremony event at the Saturday night at the high school. I was really, really amazed. It's really cool what these guys can do. Very impressive. So thank you, and girls, and guys, you're absolutely incredible. All right, from the engineering department, just a reminder from our engineering department, this is the wet season, and with the freezing temperatures, homeowners must not discharge their sump pumps to the streets or to neighboring properties that could cause flooding or icing conditions. Homeowners must maintain their water discharge on their properties by the use of some form of storm water control, such as swales, rain gardens, dry wells, and so on. If you have any questions, please contact our engineering department for more information. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Committeewoman McCauley.
Thank you, Mayor. Just one thing for me this evening, a reminder for the Board of Fire Commissioners. They will hold their annual election on February 20th, 2016. This year there are 2 commissioners up for re-election, and there's a 3-year term each. If there are any interested parties out there, please contact the front office. The last day to register to vote for the Board of Fire Commissioners is this Thursday, February 18th. So I just wanted to put a quick reminder out there for that Fire Commissioners election. Thank you.
Committeeman Thompson.
A couple things for me this evening. I had the honor of attending the Woods Road Firehouse installation dinner along with Mayor Delcor the other day. I just want to say congratulations to Chief Murphy and to ex-Chief Filomeno for doing a great job over the last couple of years. Also, our Cultural Arts Commission will be hosting the 2016 Art and Photo Exhibition, March 11th to the 13th. The deadline to register is Sunday, March 6th. The exhibition is open to all adults and student residents in Somerset, Mercer, and Hunterdon counties. There's a maximum of 2 entries per person, and you can see the Friday's e-news for more details on that event. Also, registration is ongoing for the following recreational programs. Spring soccer leagues. Leagues are open to children ages 3 to grade 12. All games are played on Saturdays at various township soccer fields, and registration deadline is March 11th, and the season is scheduled to start on April 9th. Also, girls softball. The leagues are open right now to girls in kindergarten through grade 12, and teams will play on or practice at 2 to 3 times per week at various township softball fields. Registration deadline is March 4th, and the season is scheduled to start on March 28th this year. That's it for me this evening.
Thank you. Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Thank you, Mayor. A few items this evening. I, too, had the privilege of being at the Winter Guard Showcase, and also had the privilege of awarding or giving one of the awards out. And as Committeeman Burchett said, if you haven't had a chance to see a Winter Guard show, you really should see it. I mean, it's really amazing. The combination of dance and with all the, as I call it, these rifles and flags and stuff all flying all over the place. I mean, it's really neat and, very theatrical. But it was really a great evening. In the world of finance, as I'm sure all property owners want to hear this reminder, first quarter tax payments are due no later than the close of business tomorrow, February 10th, without interest. Payments may be made in person or on the township website. There is no charge if you pay with check. If you prefer to pay by credit card, there is a 2.5% convenience charge. And pet owners, you have until the end of the month, February 29th, to license your dogs for 2016. Just also a reminder that your pet must have a valid rabies vaccination that is good through October of this year. For additional information, please contact the finance office. And over at the Board of Education, just wanted to congratulate them on their recognition. Niche.com, which is a national organization that compiles reviews and rankings of various institutions, including public schools, and 4 of our elementary schools were named in the top 100 elementary schools of New Jersey. So special congratulations to Hillsborough Elementary School, Sunnymead Elementary School, Amsterdam Elementary School, and Woods Road Elementary School. I'm sure it was well-deserved and a lot of hard work in there, so congratulations to all the staff, the teachers, and the students in those schools. And also a reminder, there is another election coming up. This is a special school district election to be held on Tuesday, March 8th. I believe there's a referendum on there following a spending initiative. The last day to register a vote in that election will be Tuesday, February 16th. And at our next meeting, Dr. Jordan Schiff, Superintendent of Schools, will be doing a presentation regarding that referendum. And that's all I have this evening, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you. A few items tonight. The new year always brings the opportunity for us to initiate a lot of the swearing-in ceremonies. We'll have a couple later today, but to get the chance over the last couple Saturdays to participate in the swearing-in for 2 of our firehouses. With Committeeman Thompson, we went to the Woods Road Firehouse 2 Saturdays ago, and as noted, congratulations to Chief Murphy and the President of the House, Seth Freund, for their volunteer efforts and for all of their lines and staffs. Also, this past Saturday, we had the opportunity to go over to. I had the opportunity to attend the installation dinner for Neshannock Firehouse, and again, congratulations to Chief Chris Foley and President Leonard Brown on their elections and serving. We are obviously very thankful to all the volunteers in the firehouse for the work that they do, and taking on these roles of line officers and executive staff is a very time-consuming effort. We greatly appreciate all of their efforts, and it's a great honor to be able to swear them in. So I'd like to thank them for allowing us to go over and do that swearing-in session. Also, this past Saturday, which was a fairly busy day here in the municipality, we also had 2 grand openings we were able to participate in. Although it's been open for a few weeks now, we had the official grand opening of Jersey Mike's, sub shop over on 206 right by Walgreens there. And also later that afternoon, the Dollar Tree store over next to the Tractor Supply House in the old Kmart Shopping Center. So we always welcome the new businesses here in town, and got to do the ribbon cutting, break out the big scissor, and welcome them to Hillsborough. And I hope you'll frequent those shops so we can continue to promote the businesses here in town. Last week, had the opportunity with Administrator Ferreira. Each year, early in the year, down in Trenton, they have a Mayor's Legislative Day where they will bring in a number of the legislators down in Trenton, as well as some of the department heads for a session where they can talk to the mayors about what's going on in Trenton. We get the opportunity to meet with some of the commissioners and the legislators that may have matters pending or issues that are of importance to us. It's always a good opportunity for us to get down and actually talk to them face to face. A lot gets done during that time where you can just go down and meet with with the legislators. And the commissioners were very accommodating, an opportunity to meet with the DOT as well as the DEP commissioners. There's always matters here in town that those two are actively involved in. So I appreciate their time, and I will share some additional matters and issues from those meetings as we get a little further advanced in some of the dialogue with them. All right, last week, many of you may be aware at this point, at the last meeting we talked about where we were with fairly preliminary pending application matter for a power plant that was proposing to come into town between Amwell and Hamilton Roads near Royce Brook Country Club. I'm pleased to announce that proposal has now been abandoned by the developer, and they will no longer be building that power plant here in town. As I stated at our last meeting, we did have a number of concerns that we were working to discuss with them to understand more about what they were truly proposing and the impact it would have on Hillsborough. Certainly there was some feedback from the residents about their feelings on the matter, both to the Township Committee and to the developers through their website. We thought that this would have the opportunity to significantly alter the nature of Hillsborough from its bucolic nature as well as rural appeal, and the sense was that it would not create nearly the level of ratables that one might expect given the size of the power plant. It is our duty as a Township Committee to thoroughly investigate and review these matters to ensure that both the positives and the negatives of projects like this are evaluated. Although this project was in a fairly preliminary state at the time that we talked about it 2 weeks ago, I believe there was many in the public that thought this may be a fait accompli and this project was going to be happening in town. I certainly appreciate the feedback and the comments that we did get from the residents, and we appreciate all of that commentary because it does give us a good sense of what's happening out in the public on matters of this import. We remain committed to ensuring that Hillsborough protects its environmental sensitive areas. There were wetlands surrounding that area, and as we've stated before, we've already closed off about 30% of Hillsborough to developers through either open space or farmland preservation. So we will continue to ensure that Hillsborough remains one of the best towns to live in America, but we do have the obligation to ensure that we do talk about these matters and fully vet them before drawing any of our own conclusions. So I do appreciate everyone's feedback, certainly to the Township Committee for your efforts on this, and our staff as well. Okay. We are once again partnering with the Hillsborough School District to participate in the Lewis Bay II Future Municipal Leader Scholarship Contest. The deadline for submission is March the 10th, and more information about this will be presented in Friday's e-newsletter. According to the League of Municipalities, the purpose of the scholarship program is to advance the virtues of elected and volunteer positions in municipal government while raising awareness of municipal government in general. So anyone that is interested, please get your applications in. Again, it's March the 10th, and be on the lookout for more details in our e-newsletter on Friday. And speaking of our e-newsletter, If you are not signed up, please do. We try to get information out each Friday on things that are happening in town as well as events. But there are other ways you can connect. Nixle or Honeywell Instant Alert. We do have, go out with, on Twitter most days. And if you're not connected through any of those venues or all of them, please get connected so you can understand what's happening in town. Okay. So that is it for me as far as comments this evening. We will move now to proclamations and presentations. First up tonight, we have a resolution promoting Sergeant Charles Boyle and Sergeant Michael Fitzpatrick to lieutenant at an annual salary of $141,672, effective today, February the 9th of 2016. So, this was consideration number one. With the consent of the Township Committee, I'd like to move that up to this point, and then we'll conduct the swearing in. Okay. Once again, we turn to the depth of our police department for these promotions. It is truly an honor to be able to promote these exemplary officers to the position of lieutenant in the police department here, and I know that they will serve the municipality and our community in an exemplary way as they have throughout their careers. So may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any comments from the dais?
Oh, maybe after comments? Can we make them now?
You can make them whenever you like.
Okay, I'll make them now. Well, first and foremost, I just wanted to say congratulations up front to the two promotions we're about to do. Both Committeeman Burchett and myself had the pleasure, and I always say this, that we have outstanding officers all the way up to the top, and it does make a difficult decision, but you are here because you are valued by your fellow officers and also the Township Committee. I want to say congratulations.
Congratulations, gentlemen.
Okay. Any other comments from the dais? Any comments from the floor? All right, seeing none, roll call, please.
Committeeman Bichette.
Yes?
Committeeman McCauley.
Yes?
Committeeman Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delacqua.
Yes. So at this point, I'd like to call up Lieutenant Charlie Boyle, his family, Chief Powell, and also have Committeewoman McCauley and Committeeman Burchett join me for the oath. Raise your right hand, please, and repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Charlie Boyle,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and to the government, and I will bear true faith
and I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
So help me God.
So help me God.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
all the duties
of the office of
of
lieutenant
the office of lieutenant
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my abilities. So help me God.
Congratulations. Oh, you got to sign this one.
Thank you very much, Mayor. I'd like to take this opportunity to thank the mayor, deputy mayor, and the township committee for choosing me for this promotion. The questions you asked during the oral interview process of the promotional process were tough. I guess I got enough of the answers correct. So thank you for the confidence you showed me. I'd like to take a moment to acknowledge the township administrator, Anthony Ferreira, the township clerk, Pam Orick, who I've known for. Anthony, you've always been very kind and professional to me my entire career. And Pam, my new best friend. I thought I was a hard worker, but you make me look lazy. I'd like to thank Chief of Police Darren Powell and his command staff for the support you showed me during the evaluation portion of the promotional process. I won't let you down. I appreciate the faith you showed me. And all of the cops here today, I'd like to thank all the officers that are here, many of the fellas that have worked alongside me or for me during my many years as a sergeant. I want you to know during the oral interviews, I took credit for all your hard work. So that helped me get my promotion. And last but not least, I'd like to thank my family, my beautiful wife, Trish, and my lovely daughter, Erin. I know it's not always easy being a wife or daughter of a cop, but I want you guys to know that everything I do every day on this earth, in my personal life at home, and in my public life here, I do for you and because of you. So I hope you're proud of me, because I'm proud of you every single day.
Okay. Can I call up Michael Fitzpatrick and his family as well? Oh, there you go. Put your hand on top. Right hand in the air, please. Repeat after me.
I, Michael Fitzpatrick,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support the Constitution of the United States,
that I will support the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
and the Constitution of the State of New Jersey,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people,
So help me God.
so help me God.
I do further solemnly swear
I do further solemnly swear
that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly perform
all the duties
all the duties of the office of lieutenant
of the office of lieutenant
to the best of my ability.
to the best of my ability,
So help me God.
so help me God.
Congratulations.
I have the very hard part of trying to follow Charlie Boyle for the speech. I'd like to thank the entire Township Committee for the show of support and faith. I'm truly honored. This job helped me and my wife create our beautiful family, which we're very proud of. I'd like to thank you very much to the committee for the support and the opportunity. I'd like to thank my dad, who taught me to be the man that I am today, what honesty and hard work will do. Greatly appreciate it. I'd like to thank the men in the back. By working together, we make each other better and allows us to play a big part in this Hillsborough one of the best 50 places to live in America. So, gentlemen, thank you for making me better. And since Charlie thanked his beautiful wife, I'm going to thank my hot wife of 26 years and my beautiful children. Thank you for everything.
Congratulations.
Doug, you want to go down? We have a proclamation for American Heart Month. Can I call up Lieutenant Voorhees from the rescue squad? Somewhere. There. We're here somewhere. Whereas, every year since 1964, the President of the United States has issued a proclamation designating the month of February as American Heart Month. And whereas heart disease is a leading cause of death in the United States, affecting both men and women of every age and race. And whereas more than 64 million Americans suffer from one or more forms of cardiovascular disease, including high blood pressure, coronary heart disease, congestive heart failure, stroke, congenital heart defects that can lead to heart disease. And whereas by developing good eating habits, being physically active, taking advantage of preventative screenings, avoiding drugs, tobacco, and excessive alcohol, individuals and families can significantly reduce the onset of and burden of heart disease. And whereas many heart attack victims do not recognize the signs until it is too late, only 1 in 5 people is able to reach a hospital quickly enough to benefit fully from treatment. And whereas far too many Americans are unaware of the danger of cardiac arrest, and about 95% of sudden cardiac arrest victims die before reaching the hospital. Now therefore be it proclaimed that we, the Mayor and the Township Committee of the Township of Hillsborough, in conjunction with the President of the United States of America, do hereby declare February as American Heart Month. And be it further proclaimed that we, the Mayor and the Township Committee, encourage all Hillsborough residents to join the fight against heart disease by wearing red and learning more about prevention, risk factors, warning signs, and life-saving emergency response techniques. Thank you. Okay. Why don't we have the girls cross-country team come on up? They're supposed to run up here, though. Whereas the 2015 Hillsborough High School girls cross-country team had a very successful season because of their hard work and dedication. And whereas the 2015 Hillsborough High School girls cross-country team was comprised of the following young athletes.
Natalie Tavares,
Courtney Skigas,
Stephanie Maurer,
Olivia DiLorenzo,
Jenny Tavares,
Paige Novak,
Kelly Sanciola, Maggie Tabernero,
Go Treefy.
And I'm Karen Binger, the principal, and very proud of my team.
And whereas the Hillsborough High School girls cross-country team was led by Coach Rich Reffy, and whereas the Hillsborough High School girls cross-country team were the Somerset County champions for the 7th consecutive year. 7th. And whereas the Hillsborough High School girls cross-country team won the Central Jersey Group 4 state championship, And whereas the Hillsborough High School girls cross-country team placed 5th in the Northeast region. Now therefore be it proclaimed that we, the mayor and the Township Committee of the Township of Hillsborough, do hereby commend all of the members of the 2015 Hillsborough High School girls cross-country team, not only for their awards and championships they have won, but for their unwavering teamwork, dedication, and sportsmanship throughout the season. And be it further proclaimed that we, the mayor and the Township Committee of the Township of Hillsborough, further commend the 2015 Hillsborough High School girls cross-country team for the honor that they have brought to themselves, their team, and our community through their many achievements. Congratulations, ladies. If you want to embarrass one or make them talk too.
I'd just like to say thank you for having us tonight. I'm very proud of this group of girls. You know, 4 of them are seniors, so they're going to be leaving us. They were state runner-up 3 times, county champs every year. Really put a lot into this program, and it's going to be really difficult to replace them. Thank you.
Okay, we got one more. I think the gymnastics team wants you to come up too. You guys supposed to be doing flips or something on your way out. Yeah, I think we're going to get spread out a little bit. Okay, that's good. You, not me. Okay. Whereas the 2015 Hillsborough High School gymnastics team had a very successful season because of their hard work and dedication, and whereas the 2015 Hillsborough High School gymnastics team was comprised of the following young athletes:
Kristen Marr,
Kira Solt, Rebecca Lubin, Claire Hanlon,
Cindy Lou, Lauren Tran, Grace Tenunzi,
Sudhi Patel,
Ashley Choi, Jennifer Lopez, Brielle Seidel, Renee Kinsler.
And I'm Coach Beth Marin. And I'm still the principal, and I'm proud of this group, too.
And whereas the Hillsborough High School gymnastics team was led by Coach Beth Marin and assistant coach Lauren Watts, and whereas the Hillsborough High School gymnastics team won the following: the Somerset County Championships, the Skyline Conference Championship, the Skyline Conference regular season title, and the Central 2 sectional championships. And whereas in addition to the team's successful season, 2 of the young athletes, Natalie Andurko and Sarah Palais, were named to the New Jersey State Coaches Association All-State team. And whereas the Hillsborough High School Hillsborough High School gymnastics team were true ambassadors of sportsmanship and proudly represented their school, community, and families, and showed a wonderful bond and spirit. Now therefore be it proclaimed that we, the mayor and the Township Committee of the Township of Hillsborough, do hereby commend all of the members of the 2015 Hillsborough High School gymnastics team, not only for their awards and championships they have won, but for their teamwork, dedication, and sportsmanship throughout the season. And be it further proclaimed that we, the mayor and the Township Committee of the Township of Hillsborough, further commend the 2015 Hillsborough High School gymnastics team for the honor they have brought to themselves, their team, and our community through their many achievements. Congratulations, ladies.
I just want to thank the mayor and the township for recognizing us and all of the hard work that the girls truly put into this. We've had an incredible 2-year run, and we were led by a senior class of 3, and so we've been 19-0 in that time and defended all those titles we won this year. We won last year as well. But I think the true part about this team is just how well they got along and just how bonded they were as a team and the team chemistry. And as much as we were having a lot of success, I think there wasn't a day that we just didn't enjoy each other. And I think they were true ambassadors in representing their school and their families and their community. So I want to congratulate the girls for all their hard work, and thank you.
Just like we practiced before. Happens every time. Okay. On to, we have no new business this evening, so, okay, seeing none, we'll move to public hearings. First up is hearing 2016-01, an ordinance to amend an ordinance entitled Salary Range Ordinance, setting forth the salaries for the classifications set forth in said ordinance. As stated when the ordinance was introduced, this sets the salary ranges necessary to accommodate salaries established over the next few years by the public employee contracts and for the non-union employees' positions. This ordinance does not provide actual salaries or any salary increases for individuals or positions. It only sets the range for various positions. May I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2016-01?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any discussion from the dais? Any discussion from the floor? Okay, may I have a motion to close the public hearing and adopt ordinance 2016-01?
Move to close and adopt.
Second.
Roll call, please.
I'm sorry. Committeemember Shett.
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley.
Yes.
Committeeman Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. Move to ordinance 2016-02, an ordinance appropriating certain monies held by the Township of Hillsborough, County of Somerset, State of New Jersey, for the purchase of various capital improvements in the amount of $170,000 in and for the Township of Hillsborough. This ordinance provides the necessary funding for a replacement heavy-duty vehicle in our Department of Public Works. May I have a motion to open a public hearing on ordinance 2016-02?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any discussion from the dais? Any discussion from the floor? Okay, may I have a motion to close the public hearing and adopt ordinance 2016-02?
Move to close and adopt.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeemember Shett.
Yes.
Committeewoman McCauley.
Yes.
Committeeman Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. Move to ordinance 2016-03, an ordinance authorizing the acceptance of a deed of dedication right-of-way from Country Cowsix 4 Limited Liability Company to establish a right-of-way for the Lucas Drive through Country Classics in the Millstone Valley -1 Phase 4D in Hillsborough Township. This ordinance allows the township to accept a deed of dedication and right-of-way as required conditions of the Planning Board of Approval. Local land and building law only allows the municipality to accept land or interest in land through the adoption of an ordinance. This has been reviewed and found acceptable by the township attorney. I have a motion to open the public hearing on ordinance 2016-03.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any discussion from the dais? Any discussion from the floor? Okay, may I have a motion to close the public hearing and adopt ordinance 2016-03?
Move to close and adopt.
Second?
Roll call, please.
Committeemember Shep.
Yes.
Committeemember Macaulay.
Yes.
Committeemember Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Srirachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. We'll move to considerations. As noted before, consideration one, we moved up in the agenda. That was the swearing in or the approval of the promotion of to lieutenant. So we'll move to consideration number two, which is a resolution approving the agreement between Township of Hillsborough and Somerset County YMCA Hillsborough Branch for the Hillsborough Senior Citizen Exercise Wellness Program. This resolution renews the agreement with the YMCA to provide exercise services and supplemental benefits through the senior exercise program. Our senior community is very important to and vital part of our township, and it is important to renew this agreement to maintain this well-attended program. I'd also like to thank the YMCA for their continued commitment to our community and for their partnership with us here in Hillsborough. May I have a motion?
So moved?
Second.
Any comments from the dais?
Mayor, just to echo your comments as well, we're very appreciative of the partnership with the YMCA. It's been so successful that we've added another program just this past year. So we're very happy to provide the services not only here in Hillsborough at the municipal building, but also at the YMCA to make it as flexible as convenient for our senior population. Thank you.
Anything else from the dais? Any comments from the floor? Name and address for the record, please, Susan.
Susan Gulliford, Hunt Club Road. I couldn't catch everything you said. Is this the exercise program that's already running in the building, or are they adding something to it?
No,
The senior exercise program.
Yeah, it's to continue the exercise program here in the building. We added an additional time slot for a class because the other 4 classes were full, so we added another one.
Okay, I knew it was very popular. I just didn't know if they were adding something over at the Y, or if it was just the one that was here in the building still.
Yep, the one here in the building.
Okay, thank you.
Free membership numbers remain the same.
Any other comments from the floor? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Committeemember Shep.
Yes.
Committeemember Macaulay.
Yes.
Committeemember Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Srirachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. Consideration number 3 is a resolution authorizing the mayor and the township clerk to execute a non-fair and open contract for professional services to Mills and Shearing Architects LLC for the repair and restoration of the Vanderveer Harris House in an amount not to exceed $34,545. The historic architect for the Vanderveer Harris House, Mills and Shearing, prepared a proposal repair and restoration of the Vanderveer Harris House. This resolution authorizes Mills and Shoring to provide building and construction administrative services for the projects of the repairs and restorations, which are fully funded through the Somerset County Historic Grant, can be completed. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any comments from the dais? Comments from the floor? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Committeemember Shep.
Yes.
Committeemember Macaulay. Committeemember Macaulay.
Yes, sorry.
Committeemember Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Srirachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. Consideration number 4 is a resolution ratifying and confirming the submission of the Emergency Management Assistance and Emergency Management Performance Grant application. This grant is funded by and administered through the State Office of Emergency Management. The monies awarded can be used for various emergency management activities. There is no financial obligation or match of the township associated with this grant. Can I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments from the dais? From the floor? Roll call, please.
Committeemember Shep.
Yes.
Committeemember Macaulay.
Yes.
Committeemember Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Srirachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. Consideration number 5 is a resolution ratifying and confirming an agreement with Shane Doyle Farms LLC for the winter 2015-2016 sidewalk snow clearing services. There's been an increasing concern to keep our sidewalks safe for our residents and students who walk to the area schools. This resolution confirms an agreement between Shane Doyle Farms LLC for snow clearing services for certain sidewalks adjacent to our schools. The balance of the sidewalks around the schools remain the responsibility of the Board of Education. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Any comments from the dais? Comments from the floor? Roll call, please.
Chairman Burchett.
Yes.
Chairman McCauley.
Yes.
Chairman Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. Consideration number 6 is a resolution approving the memorandum of agreement, or MOA, between the Township of Hillsborough and the Teamsters Local 469 for the 2015 through 2017 collective bargaining agreement, and authorizing the mayor and the township clerk to execute the agreement. I'd like to thank, in particular, Administrator Ferrera for his significant diligence in working to get this matter closed and put to bed. I think it's a good agreement for both parties, and one that we are thankful we're finally able to get to conclusion. So thank you for your effort on this. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments from the dais? From the floor? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Chairman Burchett.
Yes.
Chairman McCauley.
Yes.
Chairman Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. Consideration number 7 is a resolution authorizing the tax collector to complete an application to participate in the electronic tax sale program and submit same to the Director of the Division of Local Government Services. Due to the success of last year's online tax sale, the tax collector has asked for the authorization to the April tax sale online again for 2016. The Division of Local Government Services has approved an electronic tax sale pilot program, which allows a municipality to use a third-party vendor to conduct the annual tax sale online. This greatly expands the pool of potential lien buyers to a national level, which helps to ensure that there are minimal properties that go unsold and become municipal liens. The cost of the pilot program is fully funded through charges collected at the tax sale and thus has no impact on our municipal budget. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Any comments from the dais?
Yeah, just to add on to your comment there about getting into a wider pool of potential investors, in that it also has generated higher returns or revenues for the township. Because of that, it becomes more competitive.
Anything else from the dais? Any comments from the floor? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Committee Member Burchett.
Yes.
Chairman McCauley.
Yes.
Chairman Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. Consideration number 8 is a resolution increasing the 2016 temporary emergency budget. Even though we've only had one snow event thus far, it was a doozy. So it's necessary for us to increase the snow removal budget for 2016 to allow for the payment of overtime and the expenses that were encumbered that we've already incurred. So may I have a motion?
So moved.
Second?
Comments from the dais? Any comments from the floor? Seeing none, roll call, please.
Committee Member Burchett.
Yes.
Chairman McCauley.
Yes.
Chairman Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sarachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. Consideration number 9 is a resolution authorizing and requesting the Somerset County Library Commission to transfer to the Township of Hillsborough funds collected from fines at the Hillsborough Township Library Branch, and directing the Hillsborough Public Library Advisory Board to provide an accounting of and transfer to the Township of Hillsborough all funds currently held by said organization for the benefit of the Hillsborough Library Branch. This resolution effectively moves the control of the public funds that are collected through the Hillsborough Township Library Branch, which is part of the Somerset County Library Commission, under the control of the Township Committee and the local government, to ensure that there is public oversight of the public funds collected here. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Comments from the dais? Any comments from the floor?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yep.
Hi, Alicia Gabriel-Bayless. I live in Hillsborough. I am newly elected as the vice president of the advisory board.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name.
Alicia Gabriel-Bayless. Would you like spelling?
Yes, please.
Licia Gaber, G-A-B as in boy, E-R, Bayless, B-A-Y-L-I-S. Was just wondering, when did this go onto the agenda?
Believe today
Was it available online?
was what available online?
Was this agenda available online?
Yes, at about 6:15 or so, at 6 o'clock, and then I had to make a change to a consent because a typographical error on a misspelling of something on a consent agenda, and it went back up 5 minutes later.
Okay.
So around 6 again, and 6:05, 6:15 the latest.
Okay, because I kept checking it all day, and Doug Thompson was very helpful with posting the link, but I apologize that more of our board didn't come because we didn't realize this was going to be on the board, on the agenda, so if you're representing. So I was just wondering, I had a couple questions myself. One is, why now?
Well, I'm not so sure so much why now as much as it's been something that we've had brought to the board's attention back as early as last summer that we wanted to move forward with this matter. This is the only municipality or library commission that's not under the within Somerset County, that's not part or under the jurisdiction of the local government, so there's no oversight through the municipality of those funds. We know that the board is sort of elects itself. We just feel there's a fiduciary responsibility that we have to the taxpayers in Hillsborough to ensure that those funds that are under the library are part of the oversight process that we have to go through with all the rest of the public funds.
Except for Mary Jacobs, at least, right? They
I'm
have
sorry?
except for Mary Jacobs, I believe they have a different organization.
I'm not
I
sure.
think they have their own organization as well.
Okay. Just wondering, how did this come to your attention?
How did what?
How did it
this
come to your
issue?
attention in-
It's been an issue for several years. I think the county board had sent a letter as back as early as 3 years ago to the Library Commission that there was an intent to try to move the process so that the advisory board was under the township committee.
So if it became under the township, it would not be a 501c3 anymore, correct?
Which would not be?
The advisory board.
I believe that's correct, although I'd probably ask our counsel to confirm that, but I believe that's correct.
It would just be commissioner.
Correct.
Right. Because right now the board is lovely because we have a very diverse group of ages, races, well, not as diverse with the race, but that's what Hillsborough is a bit. And we're a 501c3, so if we ever needed a fundraise, it's much easier to ask someone, hey, could you give me some money, and also get matching grants from their companies in order to help the library, right?
But
well,
we
there's
should
nothing that precludes you from continuing for the ability to raise money for, but it's the issue of the funds that are public funds, dealing with how that gets dealt with, and making sure that there is a advisory board that's part of the municipal government.
So it'd be more political.
Not political,
Mayor,
just
could I-
oversight and
Could I
governance.
ask a question, Mayor? Have you done fundraising so far?
We have done some, and in the past
What's
we've done a lot.
how,
The others who have been on the board for longer than I have a much greater knowledge and history of this. But if you recall, we did a wonderful children's book festival last year. I don't know that you were able to attend. I don't remember. When we had 25 authors come, I spearheaded that effort. And it was just lovely. It was also, we gave back to the public. We said, if you have a library card, you have 10% off, and we kept the profits from that. And it was a lot of work, but it was great, and the community loved it.
I think that the confusion here is that events wouldn't be able to be held, would not be able to occur anymore. Something that I've discussed with the current president, Leslie, and I've had numerous conversations with Ms. Haas about this, is that the goal here, and I've said this to Mayor Delcor, I've asked him that if possible, to move the entire advisory group that you have today under the township. So that same diverse group that you're talking about would still have the same advisory power, but under the township committee. This
And
is
we would
about
not be allowed to
protecting-
do any events, did you just say?
No, we would encourage you to continue to do
Okay, I
events.
thought that you just said we could not do
No,
events.
I was saying nothing would preclude you from doing events. In fact, I'm sure we would encourage and we'd be welcoming that. We have great advisory boards already under the township. I think of the Open Space Advisory Committee, which, as Mayor Delcor spoke about earlier, protected over 30% of the township through purchasing of dedicated open space. The way I envision it, and I don't want to speak for all my colleagues, but my conversation with the mayor is to take your same group currently and move it under the township.
And
if
would we
this is
still
about
be able
protecting
to
the li-
also recruit from within? We could be the ones that recruit the new members also,
I would act,
as
anyone who would.
as we do now?
I'm not, you mean elect from within is what I assume you're talking about, appoint your own people?
Well, ask the community, and, because right now we have an application process, and that's how we determine who gets onto the board. That can continue?
Well, we do something similar here in the township, and I don't mean to cut you
It
off,
would-
Mayor.
No, the fact of the matter would be, no, that's not how it would happen. I mean, there certainly could be a recommendation process whereby the liaison would speak with the members, and if there are people that are willing to serve on the advisory board, we would certainly take that under advisement, but at the end of the day, it would be the township committee that would have the ability to put people on the commission at some point down the road.
And-
It would have to be that way.
Just a comment, I know you mentioned political earlier, and I know the concern, and when I had conversations with Ms. Haas about this, it came up, or it might have been Leslie, I apologize, I'm not sure who it was, that the process could become political. I know that after my first election, me and Committeeman McCauley, we appointed our opponent to a board and commission. I know after this year, after Greg Burchett and Deputy Mayor Sirachi, who they were against this year, also was appointed to a township committee. So I don't see the process of becoming political. We appoint members of all parties, and just as diverse as your group is today, I imagine it would continue to be that diverse.
But it sounds as though that we could continue to find our own people, and you could just approve them.
Well, at the end of the day, you certainly could, as we do with all the boards, we get recommendations from all of our boards on people that may be willing to serve. But I just want, the final determination would be made by the township committee, not by the board itself. There's no governance then if you have the board picking their own members.
Well, we could give suggestions, though, and then you could have the final say.
Absolutely.
Yes.
So where would the money go? Because right now, as I understand it, the money is in the coffers, and we pay for extra programs, such as the Pilates class that I missed in order to come here, unfortunately. And the public loves those, by the way, and I hope that they continue. Like the Zumba series, people are just itching for the next one. And so we're hoping to find out when that will be as well. But it goes to things like that, you know, if new floors in the back rooms, the TVs I think that we've paid for, you know, this is where the money goes. Like the director or the manager comes up with a budget, it looks good, we approve it. Okay, looks like you've done your due diligence, we're going to give you that money. Is that how this money is going to be kept, or will it just go into the general paying for the library? Like paying for the electricity and stuff that you guys are already paying for?
The way
I
it would
think.
work going forward then would be the funding would be dealt with just as every other area within the municipality. So there would be
It would be specifically, the funds would be specifically dedicated for the Hillsborough Library, but I do have one concern. Did you say you're funding Pilates classes with library funds?
Programs.
Okay.
They're programs.
I don't know how that's a library function, but
It gets people into the library. The library is not just going in and getting a book anymore.
So-
It's
so-
the community, it's bringing people
I look at that
together.
as more of our exercise wellness program through the township, but that's okay.
But the issue would be, there would be oversight as to how that money would be spent by this board, by our CFO, ensuring they're covered by the regulatory environment that we all have to operate under, to ensure that we can say with full confidence that, to the public, that those funds are being administered appropriately for public, the use of public funds. And we can't, unfortunately, we can't say that today. And that is not an implication, please don't misunderstand me.
It sounds like it is a little bit there,
I am in
by
no
the
way
way.
saying that, but there is no oversight that happens there from a public standpoint.
Don't we have, like, we have open meetings, anyone is willing to join and listen.
But-
We have the ability, I think that Doug Thompson is now our liaison or something. He's
Moving
welcome
forward.
at our meetings. We go over our finances every single meeting. We have an IRS tax return that we do. We get audited. Never have any issues come up. And it's very hard to keep a 501c3 status. So that says a lot right there about how well we have been able to keep our funds and manage them.
Mayor, may I make a quick comment?
Mhm.
I just want to double what the mayor's saying is no one on this township committee and no one has ever suggested that anything that your board has done, the advisory board, is unethical, illegal, or anything like that. That is not the case. The concern, and it's a large concern of mine, is that there is no public oversight of the committee as it currently stands. And I know IRS, it's been mentioned to me, the IRS's job isn't necessarily an oversight role when it comes to what the funds are being used for. The way I look at it now currently is that if, per se, the public, and we're just going to use the Zumba as an example. If
Which
the
we do
public
not put together, by the way. This is
No.
not our program. It's the library that does it, by the way.
Okay.
I know that
Say-
they've been wanting to cut that a lot, and you've probably talked to different people about that.
I was just using an example. So we'll just use something else. Let's say the committee decided to buy a lot of widgets, okay? If the township residents decided they didn't like the widgets that you were buying, there's no oversight for that. There's no way they could come in and, they could come to your board and say, we don't like that you're buying widgets. But at the end of the day, you guys self-appoint your next person that replaces whoever wants to be on the committee, correct? If the township committee does something that the public doesn't like and purchases things they don't like, they have the opportunity to vote every 3 years and remove one of us from the committee. There's not that ability for the public to have that oversight. When we set up, and if we set up an advisory committee underneath the township, because that's not currently in the ordinance as it's, or the resolution as it's currently written, there would be that oversight where if the advisory group made a recommendation and the public didn't like the recommendation that we decided to move forward on, there is a consequence or an action that can be taken against us. That action doesn't currently exist with the way the advisory group is put together now. It's all
Sorry,
about
to be
ensuring
taken
that
against you or against the new
against
township board?
us, against a township committee person.
Because you allowed that person to go onto the board, and then the board voted that way?
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry?
that's what happens. If a decision is made at the planning board that the public doesn't like, a lot of times, and not necessarily it's happened in this town, but it's happened in towns all across New Jersey, where if there's a decision made, it's absolutely, they'll say, go for a change in government, and they'll try to switch the government that's currently in there. That's happened time and time again throughout the
But
state.
that would just wait for the election time period, right? It wouldn't be okay, let's do a referendum.
No, of course not.
No, it would be during the elections.
Just
That's
during the
the
elections, yeah.
oversight that the residents have of the township committee. It's the elections.
I guess the best way I could say it is, and again, please don't misunderstand me, we are in no way trying to indicate that there's any concern about the way things have been handled. The issue remains one of, there's no public oversight. You have a board that utilizes public funds, and within themselves, unelected, are choosing their members on an annual basis to determine what public has no input into that process, they have no visibility into that process, and they have no oversight into that process. And we have a responsibility, fiduciary and otherwise, to ensure that public funds that are being utilized within the municipality are subject to the same governance that all the rest of the funds are.
So
And that's what
basically-
we've been trying to do.
That's fine. So basically, it would stay about the same, except for you would have the final say of someone who we recommend would get in, and we would lose the 501c3 status because we would have to be a township.
So-
Or if we stayed as the same
Mayor,
group.
can I make
Yeah,
a statement?
Basically.
Sure.
Just real quick, you can maintain your 501c under your Friends of the Library, whatever I think that's what you call it. You
No,
can
the
maintain
Friends
your
are
status.
different
It
from
can't-
us.
You can. Once you're under a township board,
You
there's a
can't.
township board, but you can maintain your 501c status on your own to do what you want. Just any nonprofit organization can.
We would have, so you'd have the Friends, you'd have the Library Advisory Board, and then you'd have the Township Library Advisory Board.
No,
Right?
they would
So
only
if
be the
if your
township
intent,
advisory board.
if your
Correct.
intent
The
was that
official
you
group
wanted,
would be
you
the
wanted
one-
to create a vehicle that you could fundraise or do what you wanted for the library, that, this doesn't preclude you from doing it. All it means is that the funds and the mechanisms through public means are handled through the township. If you wanted to do it separately and raise money and provide it to the library, you're not precluded from doing that. But it would eliminate the public portion of the funding from your jurisdiction.
And also, just wondering, in your conversations with different people, have you also heard that if you didn't take on this new township-appointed role, that you would not get certain funds back to you from the overall Somerset County system?
I'm not sure I understand, follow your question, sorry.
I think that some of the, so we, I think, pay some of our fines into the general pocket, and then some of that goes back to each library based on square footage or so. That was never an issue, right? That you would not get that if this didn't happen?
I don't believe that to be correct. I don't think there's any issue with that portion of it.
Okay, also, next question would be, if we did become this township committee, what would the responsibilities and powers of the members be?
It would be an advisory capacity. We'd have to work up a new set of bylaws, but it would effectively be the ability to recommend uses for funds, to recommend changes to the way the library may function, and ultimately then those recommendations would get final approval through the township committee.
So, sorry, ways that the money would be used and the ways that the library functions, and just as an
Yeah.
advisory role to the manager? Is that what you just said, sorry?
To the township committee.
To the township committee that would then tell the library what to do? Sorry, what was it?
Well, it would really be the Somerset County Library Commission that would ultimately tell the library what to do, not us.
I'm sure we would model it over what other municipalities are currently doing, so.
After what, sorry? After
What
whatever
other
we're already
municipalities
doing?
are currently doing. I would assume we would model it the same way.
So the fine money that keeps coming in will go into the coffers of this township?
For use for
Board.
the library.
As our attorney indicated, and dedicated funds.
And as is specified right in the resolution.
So basically, it would stay the same, except for it's just, you guys are doing the final construction of who's on the board after getting
And how the
opinions
money
from
would
the
be
board.
spent, correct.
Also, given that we didn't have that much notice for this, and it seems like a bit rushed, I was wondering if you'd be willing to table this, unless you already just voted on it. I wasn't quite sure if that was what just happened.
We haven't voted on it yet.
No, we haven't voted on it yet. But I think as Committeeman Thompson says, this has been ongoing for quite a while, so I don't think it's been rushed. And I know the county has been involved in this too, so there's been discussions between board members.
Really for several months, more than several.
Well, I know that Leslie had asked for in writing a couple of things, and so that we could look it over as a board together and then get back to you and meet together. I'm sorry that we weren't able to meet with you before.
Well, and to be
But-
clear, and I just want the public to be aware, we did have a meeting scheduled together that we were supposed to attend, I believe it was last Thursday. And then it was canceled with me, or 2 Thursdays ago. I was canceled, and I was said I didn't need to show up. The Library Advisory Board still had a meeting that time, and then that's when I got this request for a written proposal. I would have hoped that we could have gotten together, discussed everything at that meeting, because that's what the meeting was for, was to discuss what we're doing here today, and to see how we could, as my intention has been and continues to be through the direction of the mayor, or in consultation with the mayor, is to have the advisory group move under the township. That's what that meeting was supposed to be, and then I was canceled from going to it 48 hours in advance of that meeting. And it was very disappointing.
And we
I'd
heard
been very
about
open.
this.
I'd
We
been-
heard about this less than 4 hours before
Well,
it happened.
I made sure I emailed Leslie this morning.
That was
when
this
I learned
morning,
it
and I
was going-
asked you, was there
when-
anything else on Facebook?
When I
Was there
learned-
anything,
when
any
I
other
learned- When I
additions?
learned it was going on the agenda, or when I believed it was going on the agenda, I took the time to email Leslie. Obviously,
And
I didn't
unfortunately,
have
she
to.
didn't check her email until 4 o'clock.
But I certainly wanted to go out of my way to make sure I could let her know.
And I thank you for that, at least.
And then, I mean, that's what I did. I guess I didn't have to do that, but I felt that in the interest of fairness and openness, which I've been the entire time with Leslie and my conversations with Judy, I wanted to make sure that you guys were involved. And again, the goal is to move everyone under the township committee. Not something that we're required to do at all. But we've said from the beginning, no one thinks that you guys have not been doing good work. That's
What does
that's
the
not what
Somerset
this is
County
about.
system think of this? Because I thought at their last
Well-
meeting, they agreed that the way that the fines have been regulated is just fine. It's been working out just fine.
I think they would, the mayor, but we have someone here from the
Some-
library.
some-
Brian,
some
do you want to
Somerset County
elaborate
Library-
on that?
Would
He
you
is
like
here
to come up
tonight.
and comment?
And the Somerset County Library Commission pointed this out 3
This
years
is
ago.
their
that it was a
suggestion,
problem.
too. Yeah.
And it was never addressed by the library board, the advisory board.
I'm Brian Ogier, I'm a county library administrator. Do you need the spelling?
Yes, please.
A-U-G-E-R.
Brian, just talking to the microphone,
Oh,
please.
sorry. Just 2 things by way of comment. The letter that you all referenced
She
was
asked a
sent
question.
by our commission chair at the time, Art Carlson, on September 10th, 2013. And it asked the Library Advisory Board to change their bylaws, working with the Township Committee in such a way that public oversight would be part of the mechanism. So that's longstanding. The question that I recall was asked at the commission meeting last Wednesday was, did we have any plans to change how we apportioned fines monies at the branches? And my response was, I have no plans at this time, and it's also not my decision. My sense is that this is a local issue, and this is up to you, the elected officials, to decide, not the commission. The commission's request is longstanding. Thanks. Any questions?
Anything else from the floor?
Did that answer your question, Isha? Somewhat?
Susan Gulliford, Hunt Club Road, and the newest member of the advisory board. Stepped right in this. Okay. First of all, I was surprised to see the resolution requesting, and it mentioned Somerset County Library Commission. I attended that Library Commission meeting last Wednesday in Manville, which, by the way, has hundreds of feet of empty shelves, and the county is currently deselecting books. Anyway, we did ask about funds for, they explained for budgetary reasons, we needed to know what was coming in so we could make our plans. And one of the questions was specifically about the fines money. Now, unless they're all really good professional actors, the commission members seemed surprised. Like, no plans, except for one member who refused to answer. And that was a library employee who was just up, Mr. Auger. He said he refused comment and he would supply some answer in writing at a future date.
On what comment?
For the question of whether there was going to be a change, or would we still get the fine money so that we could plan our budget for the year, as
I think he just
anybody's
indicated
changes a budget.
publicly what his position on that was.
Well, also, I hate to see local widget purchases moved up to the county level. I hope we still get a lot of input on that if this happens.
There's no
Also,
funds going to
It is a
county
county
level.
library.
Also,
As
the
much as
li-
we like to, we know it's a jewel here in town.
Yes.
It's the Hillsborough branch of the county library.
Yes, I
Okay.
know. I spoke to you guys about this last year. Also, it isn't that they just make up what they want. The library staff often comes to the advisory board and asks, there's something in particular, would they had trouble with lighting? They needed some change in their lighting. They had those little metal things in the floor for plugs that stuck up, and they needed to have electrical work done to replace them, which is expensive. So it isn't just that we make it up out of whole cloth, what we
So-
would like to pay for.
So the work that gets done from in the
A-
building here, is that
a
under
lot
the
of
same
it-
bid work that we're
I
required
don't
to
know.
do? Well,
Bids I
that's
wouldn't get
part of-
involved in, but I'm
part of the
saying
issue, though.
we've got it, and they will come and say, well, we're having trouble with this lighting, whatever it is. Okay. Now, this was a little tough because I never saw the resolution, and I never saw the entire resolution till just now. I'm a little confused that the Township Committee is proposing to pass a resolution unilaterally that would seem to void all the agreements and contracts that Hillsborough Township and the Hillsborough Public Library Advisory Board are parties to. The bylaws were all reviewed by the township, and it looks like they're just taking money. They're saying they want all the money, so they're just taking all the funds from a 501c3. They're trying to change something that's operated successfully for 50 years, and as Alicia said, why now? I mean, it's 50 years they've provided so much to the library. I actually researched it after I joined like 3 weeks ago. And I think Hillsborough is really lucky to have a 501c3. Like they said, you can apply for certain grants that government agencies cannot apply for.
Mayor, to be clear, this ordinance does not say that the 501c3 couldn't continue if they wanted to. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's correct.
So they're not asking for any money except the fine money.
Correct.
No.
No, we want yours too.
Thank you.
Let us have it. We'll take it.
Straight up.
No,
Money's
no,
good.
no, to be clear, to be clear about that is for the counting of funds, if you had separate donations, well,
Right.
then again, you did take them on for behalf of the library, so I guess they should be turned over unless you specifically dedicate those to the library. But the fine monies would definitely have to be turned over to the township, because those are the public funds.
Okay, so they're asking for, okay, right now it's library fine money and donations to be used for the library. Let's say my parents died, I know they loved libraries, I want to give $1,000 to the library in memory of my parents. Or like, as you go in the hall, you see the little engraved, we gave to that when they were actually, a lot of people gave a lot of money for that. And I assumed it would stay in Hillsborough, which it appears to still be doing, not going up to the county.
Again, if you read the terms of the resolution, it specifically says it. It says it outright and clear that the funds go to the township, and those funds will be dedicated to the Hillsborough Library branch.
Just the fines, not anything that's already in.
Well, no, whatever's in your coffers that was collected on behalf of the library. Isn't that what the funds were for, the Hillsborough Library branch?
Yeah, only the
Oh.
Hillsborough, not the
And then that's
county.
exactly,
Okay.
and if you, again, if
So
you take
here's
a look at the
wording
resolution.
In the resolution, it
Yeah.
says, "All funds collected by the townships pursuant to this resolution shall be dedicated in the municipal budget for retention and expenditures related to the Hillsborough Library branch pursuant to NJSA 48:4-39."
Okay.
So the intent is not to take the money and put it in our general coffers.
Take the money and run,
We're not trying to get around, avoiding having to do a tax rate by taking this money. It's simply to have it under the oversight of the municipal government, as all other public funds are.
And so, Ms. Gulliver, to answer your question, instead of coming to the library board, if they walk down to Mr. Ferrera's office, who is right across the hall, and say, we have a problem with lighting over here, he can bring it up to the township committee, and they can get the funds.
Because,
It's a shorter walk.
I indicate, you know, the issue of the electrician, frankly, you know, they're in the building here. So the work that's done should be under the same bid process, under the same requirements that we have to do everything else to ensure that, you know, that we have no issues with who's doing work in the building, what's happening. Again, we're not trying to say that there's any, it's intentional, but maybe someone's just coming in because they gave a quick quote and we need the work done quickly. And there's no oversight as to how that's being done.
Well,
Work
there's
in the building.
501c3s all over the county, up to the county level. So, I mean, it's not a new concept that 501c3s work with elected bodies. I
Right.
mean, you've got them in the
And
Park
it still
Commission, you've
can.
got them in,
And-
yeah.
And we're not saying it can't.
Right.
It
But I
still
thi-
can,
I
just
think
on a, if they want to raise money or on a donation basis. We could
Okay.
certainly continue to work together.
I also think it is important to maintain the independence of the current advisory board and not establish a new board overseen by whoever happens to be in power at time. I still see it as being politicized, sorry. But you can all say, we're all really honest guys, and we're going to come back and, you know, take your recommendations and see who applies that would like to be on the board. But you've also got to look ahead, as you guys have said before, and say, other people are going to be here in 10 or 20 years, maybe. So just want that to be considered also. Now, the resolution indicates all the money will continue to be used solely for Hillsborough Township Library. But I'm looking at the list of items that are paid for by the advisory board, and the fines you would be taking in wouldn't even begin to cover the cost of bills at this. They pay the phone bill. It's thousands and thousands of dollars every year. And the fines amounts, I looked back, I think 5 years I saw, have been shrinking every year. Of course, they now have this great system where they email you when your book is due. And I've made many contributions to the fines over the years. But I'll admit, I get jogged and I go, oh, that book is due, I better get in there. But since I'm here most nights anyway, I just bring it with me. Now, this board does provide constant accounting, so I know you keep saying it's not a reflection on you, but they have an audit, they have discussions, and hardly anybody, any liaisons have ever appeared apparently at any of the meetings. I've asked people who've actually been there longer than 3 weeks, and they've said one could remember twice in like 17 years.
Well,
So-
I've been there twice.
Simply not
Well, it must have been you then.
You know what, I have to say something, Mayor,
Simply
if I
not
may.
true.
Yeah.
I was on before Doug was, I guess, a couple of years. I had many conversations with the county. This is not a reflection of all the hard work that you've all done, including Judy in the audience, who's been there a long time. This is nothing even close to that, and we really don't appreciate that because the Township Committee has liaisons to their own board and commissions. This was not a Township Board and Commission. So technically, for us to have shown up, we show up to lots of meetings on a daily basis, and probably wasn't advisable on my half the evenings that there were meetings. But this is a county decision to come to us several years ago and to the board itself to simply say they need to streamline the process. It is a county library. They do run the county system. We do get funds from the county to pay the bills. So let's be clear, because I reviewed the budgets, and I reviewed all of them from Brian Algier, who sent them over to me about a year or so ago. Don't remember the phone bill being paid through that, but there certainly has not been several thousands of dollars being paid at all out of this account. So, you know, to be clear, this is not a reflection, like the mayor has stated several times, on the 501(c)(3) that you guys have created throughout the years. This is simply to streamline the process from the county on down the line. And it's something that we feel very strongly about, public funds. Probably should have been handled this way earlier. And, you know, because you have run it well, and there have been programs that you guys have supported as long as, right up to the county. The county has streamlined and changed many of their programs. And, you know, I hate to tell you, but that's what the county does. If they want to streamline the programs, that's what they do. So to sit here and say that the Township Committee doesn't show up or care, or we're trying to take over your funds or change things, simply is not true. You can continue doing what you do under our advisory group as you could under your own. So we'd like to clarify that, because there's nothing that will change necessarily. You can still have meetings, the public can still attend, you can still appoint, you can still recommend who you'd like to stay on the committee and to appoint. So I don't think that the conversation needs to go into a sense of this is a negative thing. It's really a positive thing to make sure that we see the funds are overseen.
Okay, now, I want to speak
And
personally.
I'll just add what I said earlier, is that all the other advisories are under some level of jurisdiction under the Township Committee.
Okay.
This is the only one that's not.
Well, there's other 501c3s, obviously,
Correct,
all over the
but the
county.
advisory boards.
But not under the
No, I
township.
mean, like the Somerset County Park
But again,
Foundation.
we can
But
continue
the
to
Park
have.
Commission is
Foundation.
appointed by the freeholders.
No, the foundation I'm talking about.
The members
But that
of
can
the Park
continue
Commission
as
are.
the point, though.
There's millions of
There's not-
501(c)(3)s.
There's not a reason that that has to go away.
Okay, now, on a personal level, as a resident, I've been a member less than a month, and one of the things I have unsuccessfully encouraged them to do was let the public know what they do for the library, the bills they paid, the items they cover, the programs they support. And I was unsuccessful. And I said, why am I being unsuccessful? It's what I do. I take photographs, I write brief articles, I submit PR stuff all over the place, as you guys know. And I realized after I spoke to them, it's because the members of the board don't want credit. They don't want a photo op. They don't want an item to add to their resumes. One of them said, I just want to support my library. And I really thought that was great. They came, they asked to be on it, they work hard at it, and they didn't want any publicity. This was a new concept. And I know Hillsborough is very proud of their library, and probably one of the reasons they got rated in Money Magazine. And I don't know where this whole idea originated, apparently at the county level. This past year, I attended a freeholders meeting in 2015, and there were representatives there from a whole bunch of county libraries, and they spoke about problems they were having at the county level. And I was so alarmed, I came here, I don't know if you remember, and I spoke to you briefly during the open mic about how important Hillsborough Library was. Since that time, additional letters to the editor have appeared in various newspapers around the county. And I don't know what the problem is, but there's some problem. I'm just going to make the same suggestion Leisha did, table the resolution, further reconsider it. It's a really major change.
Is it really, though?
Yes.
Why? What changes? That's the part I'm struggling with. So from the perspective of what changes?
Of a member.
If the advisory board, as Committee Thompson said, we've made the offer to take the entire board and move them under the Township Committee under advisory board format. What changes?
I don't know, but I talked to
well,
all
you
those.
just
No,
said it was
I
a
was just
major
going to say,
change.
I heard
What
all
is-
the others, they were talking about they couldn't get reports that they had gotten for years. This deselection process of books, people are saying, gee, can we look at a list?
Well, that's a county issue, and you should address that with the
But
county.
that doesn't change under this
been at the
scenario.
freeholders
Okay,
level.
that's not our address, though.
Okay,
That's
then
a
I'm talking
county
about what
address.
happened at
But
freeholders at
couldn't-
the
Okay.
county level.
But couldn't that be happening currently? I don't, that absolutely could happen currently, right now, if they wanted to deselect books from our library. They could do that,
Yeah,
right?
the Somerset County
That's
Commission
not a, we're
is
not covering
already
that.
purchasing, they purchase all the books, all the media in there. So there's no difference.
Well, I'm going to defer to people who are here who have been here longer than 3 weeks. Thank you.
You're welcome.
You have to raise your hand. You
Come
can
on.
speak up.
Yeah, I didn't think so. They didn't ask for spelling anyway. I swore I wasn't going to do this. First of all, I'd like to thank my fellow board members for showing up on such short notice. But nobody, except for Carter, has the length of experience I have on the board. And I'm
Judith,
afraid that
Judith,
you're all-
please,
and
please
address,
speak into
please,
the
for the record.
microphone so they can hear it on the tape, and name and address for the record.
You really need it.
For
Judy
the record.
Haas, speaking for only herself, and my address is 2 Titus Court, Hillsborough, as it has been for 26 years. Be that all as it may, I've just stepped down as president of the board. I was president for 3 years, and for 4 years before that, I was the treasurer of the board. Many of my new board members don't really understand the intricate relationship between the township, the county, and the library board, and it appears that you are not clear on that either. But I have to tell you something. We have a four-way contract that delineates the way each of those four parties participate in the running of the library. What you have to understand, and the reason why we are the outlier among all of the branches of the library, is because we are the successor agency to the original board of trustees that created this library in the living room of Janet Singley's home in 1966. We have collected funds since 1966. In 1975, when the township and the library board decided very reluctantly to join the Somerset County system, the fine situation remained. Library board continued to receive all of the fine money. After that, those boards back then did an awful lot of fundraising. In fact, they did so much fundraising back then that this library board gave $350,000 to the expansion of the library in 2002. And while none of you were here at the time, I was. And Virginia Parks, the former director of the library, in the middle of a very contentious hearing, which I'm sure you guys all understand, walked into this room, up to this microphone, and said, the Hillsborough Library Board would like to contribute $350,000 so that you could get this done. We had gotten grant money, and we were saving the township a lot of money, and the township did not have the down payment. This library board, the predecessors of this library board, contributed $350,000. And if you go back to the February 5th, 2002 minutes of the township committee, you will see that that money is part of your bond ordinance for the expansion of the library. This bond, which you recently retired, I understand. But we're not talking about little bucks, okay? We're talking about major money that was not from fine money, but was from a very, very persistent library board going out there and raising money for library purposes, okay? Money that was left over from that was used to furnish the additional 9,000 square feet. I mean, we added a third, it was 18,000 square feet, we made it 27,000 square feet. And quite honestly, if I want to be cute, I could say we're partial landowners too. But
Was it your personal money?
it was the
The 350,000?
library board's money.
Right, but it wasn't your
Judy,
personal money,
I guess,
so.
No, but there it is.
and look,
This is the
see,
relationship
and this
with
is
the
what,
fund.
not what, the intent is not to malign the efforts of the board and indicate that somehow we're not appreciative of the work that's gone in, or
We have a
certainly the support.
Okay, there is a
the-
four-way contract.
The issue
Have you
remains,
seen this contract?
how does your
I don't know what you're holding. I
fundraising?
can't see it from here.
Contract between the library board.
We've seen the
Let me
contract,
See what you're talking about.
if it's the same one.
Yeah, I have that. I do have that contract.
Do you acknowledge that this is a four-way contract?
Do you know what the functions of the library board are referenced in there?
Yes, I do.
Ju-
What are they?
Pay the-
Judy,
pay
could-
the phone bills.
Could you just come back to the
I don't see that.
microphone?
Paying the
If-
phone bills sort of assumes that there's going to be money coming in with which to do that. But the other thing is, many of you were asking questions of Leisha about bidding and financial accountability. We didn't buy the things. The director of the library bought the things. They just used our money to do it. Okay? So was bidding taking place? Yes, according to Somerset County's purchasing.
I think the question was just asked. There was no accusation. I think we were asking a question.
But you're not understanding the way it worked. We paid for things.
No,
Okay?
we.
It was the branch director who asked what, for the things that they wanted.
And that will continue to work that way
Okay.
under the advisory of the library council.
But there were certain things under this contract that you were obligated to do, which was maintain the building. And the things that the county was supposed to do was provide the staff, the books, the computers. And the library advisory board was totally for the purpose of getting public input and having a public organization that provided input to the library about what the public would like, and to spend the money on library purposes that sort of fell outside of the respective requirements of everybody. And quite honestly, the fine money has gone down to very little money. Our last fine payment was $1,800, where in the past it used to be like $5,000. But the bottom line is, the Library Advisory Board has always spent more money than the incoming fine money. And that money would be lost if we weren't a 501c3, because people would not donate to us if we weren't a 501c3.
But again, that doesn't have to change. That the 501c3 can remain, can it not? Why can that continue to be a fundraising arm for the board, but the public portion of that moves under the jurisdiction of the Township Committee?
Well, here's my deal, okay? You're suggesting we come under the township.
No, I didn't say.
Well,
Okay,
you're
go ahead,
suggesting
yeah.
that we have a township
We gave you that
organization.
offer, yes.
I'm suggesting we have a four-way contract. And I'm suggesting, along the lines of what Leisha said, was the four parties need to sit down and talk about this, because any changes to this contract have to be negotiated.
So let me ask you a question, with all due respect. When did this issue come to your attention?
When did what issue
When did this
come?
issue come to your attention?
Oh, this issue came to my attention in 2003, just
So,
like Brian said. But
so
you know what?
ha-
We fought back on that.
I
They
know,
were
so
gonna take
there
all
hasn't
of
been a
our-
willingness to sit down and talk about it.
We talked about it many times.
So, okay.
We talked about it
So-
many times.
So is 3 years enough time for us to want to try to talk about it and work through a resolution?
You were not part of those discussions.
As a
We had
township
this
committee? All right,
discussion.
not me,
We-
this
no, no, no.
body.
This board never came to any of the meetings of the Library Commission when they were discussing this matter. My entire board came, and we told the members of we went to freeholder meetings, and we went to library commissions, and they turned it around. They were going to take all the findings, which between you and me was the goal back then. And we fought back on that without any help from anybody, okay? And, you know, the setup that exists right now is a decent setup. We have a wonderful, diverse board where people just want to serve the library, okay? We have professional people, we have librarians, we have a lawyer, we have an accountant, we have all of the professions represented. We have age ranges from the 20s to the 80s. We have a beautiful, diverse board. And quite honestly, there is a seat on that board, and there always has been for a member of the Township Committee. And I fully understand what Gloria said in terms of having, you know, many liaison responsibilities. But you know what? It's there. If you felt that there was any issue with financial accountability, which on one hand you say there isn't, the financial accountability didn't even belong to us. It belonged to the director of the library at Hillsborough. They were the people who asked for the things to be purchased. They were the ones who bid whatever it was that we purchased, any kind of work. And they were the ones who actually had check writing responsibility, although over a certain amount of money, a board member had assigned the checks to. We have excellent financial accountability, and that has no reason to change. But for whatever it's worth, you're already getting $44,000 for the maintenance of the library building. I have to tell you, the fine money is going to be around $20,000 this year. None of it is going to make a huge amount of difference to the township. And it's really not worth violating a contract and getting into all sorts of legal mumbo jumbo. But the fact is, we have a contract. It requires negotiation if any parts of the relationship are going to change. We also have a fines resolution. And the fines resolution, which was part of the stuff that was going on back in 2013.
Judy, when was the contract drawn up, if you don't mind me asking?
Excuse me?
Do you know when the contract was originally drawn up?
1975.
Okay.
And then it was redone in 2001.
We had a much different township in 1975 than we do now. We had a much different township since, we have a different township than we did in 2001. A lot of laws have changed publicly.
Shame on all
Even
of us.
even bid contract laws have changed dramatically. Oprah has changed dramatically, and you know that
Nice
from your.
try. Nice try, really.
No, hold on.
The contract
Judy,
renews itself every 3
please allow me
years
to
that
finish.
nobody
Please-
terminates it.
Please allow me to finish.
Okay?
Laws have changed dramatically over the. You can roll your eyes, but laws have changed.
Then sit down and renegotiate it.
Laws have
That's
changed
not
over the
what's
years.
happening here.
I tried to come sit down, and I was canceled from coming to a meeting, which
And we
again,
invited
I
you
was.
to our reorg
and I was-
meeting, and you weren't able to come, just like some of us weren't able to come to the meeting you wanted us to come.
Well, it wasn't. I was told not to come. It wasn't that. I have an
Never
email.
told not to come to the reorg.
No, not
We
to the reorg.
specifically wanted
I set up
everybody
a
at the
meeting.
reorg so we could do a level set of the relationship.
I set up a meeting with Leslie, and I can't remember if it was this Thursday just passed or Thursday before, but it was a Thursday. It was supposed to happen. I was asked, then it was canceled. They said I don't need to attend, and then I found out that you still had a whole board meeting anyway. So
The library.
all that to me, and honestly, the main goal has been, and you and I have spent hours speaking about this in the past already. We wanted to move your advisory board under the township for the public dollar protection. No one has ever, and again, I'll reiterate what the mayor said, I've heard other board members up here say, no one is accusing your board of doing anything wrong. And again, you could shake your head and roll your eyes at me, but that's, the reality here is, Judy, no one has said that you've taken $1 or $1 has been gone something wrong with. But the reality is, we have to, we have the responsibility to protect the public dollar. And you know that from your time sitting
So
up
does
here.
Somerset County, and they've been totally responsible for this fine money. They
But-
send it to us.
but you
We
could-
spend it under their auspices. We audit it. We write to the IRS a 29-page return.
Who's in charge?
It doesn't get more
Who are the signers,
responsible
the
than
signer of the
that.
checks? You,
Somerset County.
you have there's no one on your board who could sign a check today.
Yes, there is. Over $800. A member of our board signs a check.
Who appoints that person?
What do you mean, who appoints
Who
that
appoints the person to sign?
It's the treasurer and the president.
Of course, you
under
got,
our
that's the
bylaws.
point, so there's no oversight. It's, you guys are
The
determining.
oversight is that the check never gets written by Somerset County. We don't even have the checkbook. They have the checkbook.
Right, but
They have the checkbook. They print it up. They do the financial
Judy, look,
reports.
I know you understand the issue of oversight, and,
Yeah, I do.
and so.
Feel free to look at any of the reports.
But it's not an
It's
issue
all
of the
open
reports.
public record.
Any agency can put out a report, any advisory board can put out a report. That's not the same thing, and you know that.
We have
So
an
you-
audit.
it's
They check
sophistry, and you know
every
that.
voucher versus every check versus every reconciliation of all the bank statements. I mean, it's really not that much money.
And, and that's why we're frankly surprised that it's elicited this level of concern, that for the relatively small amount of money that it is, to put it under the governance of the township committee, because they are public funds, that there is such a strong reaction, not only tonight, but over 3 years, that you haven't been willing to do it. So there's obviously more to it than that. You're either very protective of it, or
It's just
or
what
you
it
just
is.
have no desire to put it under.
It's just
under.
what it is. We were here in 1966.
As an advisory
Okay?
board.
What's
As an
that?
advisory board.
No, as a board of trustees, actually.
Well, for the
Okay.
library, though, it was an advisory
I know,
board.
but
And
I
then we became an advisory board.
I think where the quarrel is right now is not this way. It's that way because because when you said it was a four-way, it's really a two-way contract where one party is made up of three members. The advisory board, the county library commission, and the freeholders.
Oh, I wouldn't say that, but okay.
Yes, no, it is. Look at the way the contract's written. You're listed as one party, the three of you together. And then the township, 2/3 of that party has come to the Hillsborough Township Committee making its recommendation as far as its resolution going forward. So, there's actually a quarrel, disagreement amongst, I'm going to say, amongst the family. And it's not this side.
And this shouldn't
It's
be
over
done
that
here.
side. And they have brought that, and they've raised concerns. And again, like everyone says, recognize 1966, all that good stuff, but today, or 2.5 years ago, the County Library Commission and the county freeholders have raised a concern over that, and I think Committeeman Thompson was alluding to that
Then they
there's
don't
public,
understand
there's
how it's
oversight,
done.
There's oversight of public funds. They have concerns. I would suggest discussing this with them. They came to us that we need to go forward with this resolution. And this was their recommendation. They have concerns over the public funds that are being provided.
I can't tell you enough. The public funds, the checks, the things were ordered, the checks were written by their staff. Okay?
Granted.
That's all.
But
okay?
They're looking, like I said, this is the relationship or whatever they have deemed, or the direction it needs to go in.
Well, for whatever it's worth, I was with Susan at the Library Commission meeting, which is the oversight of the director, and 5 of the 6 board members who were there said they had no intention of changing the relationship of the fine money, because they remember how many of us came out 3 years ago, and 2 years ago, and last year. They are not looking for a fight with us, okay?
No, that's why
Every single
that's why they're
one of
not here
them,
tonight. Obviously,
except for one who was not there and one who didn't
Right.
say anything,
But
said very, very clearly, we are not looking, because I went up and asked the question, and the question was based on, we have a new board leadership. We would like to know if we could proceed with another 5-year plan, as we had for the expenditure of our former money, and the 5-year plan's up, and we're looking to do another 5-year plan, and I wanted to guarantee that the money, no matter how depleted it was due to the fact that we have all these e-books that have no fines and whatever else, and the fact that they take a piece of it now after they doubled the fine money. But we asked the question, shall we proceed with our strategic plan on the assumption that we would be getting fine money, whatever amount that might be? And the answer from 5 commission members was yes. So I got 2 witnesses who were at that meeting.
No, I mean that's obviously there's an internal quarrel, between yourselves and the 2 county
But that doesn't
entities.
appreciate our efforts.
No.
And, I just really take exception to the fact that this is even an issue. I really do. I mean, if you want to sit down and talk about this in a four-way conversation, be very happy to participate.
But you
we
haven't
need
been
a
willing
little
to
bit
do,
more
but that's,
notice.
but you haven't been willing to do that. That's the part that,
We are
you say that.
perfectly fine with doing that.
No, because you've had the opportunity to do that, and you've resisted at every turn.
We responded.
You've
You
resisted.
see, the library board is not 1 member, it's 11 members. And we don't usually speak for the board without a vote. And our meetings are every 2 months. So we have committee meetings in between. We have executive committee meetings. But the fact is, we're a volunteer board. We meet every 2 months. We could meet more frequently. But it still remains that no individual speaks for the board
Of course
without
not.
a vote. And our board has voted many times to remain a 501c3 for the opportunity to receive corporate money.
And how does this change that?
Because we won't be a 501c3
Why?
if you...
But that's what I'm saying, why that is not true. You say that's not true.
Ms. Haas, this township committee has no authority whatsoever to disband your organization.
I know that.
You are a private organization.
I
You
know
can
that.
continue as a 503. See,
If you know that, then why do you keep
you
saying
can
that?
continue to do everything you're currently doing.
Your members don't
There's
even
no-
understand it.
there's nothing that's changing here.
Except for the receiving fines.
Except for receiving fines, which you've indicated is minuscule. Which you've said is it keeps depleting every year. It's only $20,000. It was a measly
why do
8.
you want it?
It was a measly 18.
So there's
because
public
because they're
oversight.
public funds, and it's quite frankly, as a township attorney, I have the problem of taking public funds and giving it to a private agency. I have a huge problem with that. Huge problem with
What do
that.
you do with your credit card money? When you get money from your credit card,
We have a credit card advisory committee.
Yeah, let
right,
me,
and you give the money out to
No.
But we
organizations.
vote
No.
on how that money will be
Mr. Mayor,
disseminated.
Mr. Mayor, let me explain, because I was there at the genesis of the credit card commission, so.
So aren't you giving money to
We don't get, we
organizations
do
that
not
are
give,
overseen
no,
by
But it's
the
no.
public oversight of
No.
public money.
There is, no,
Public
no.
oversight of public money.
There is no,
And
Where is that on your side?
Somerset County
No,
gives
that's
us
simply not
this
true.
money.
all right,
Somerset County clearly gives us this money.
Well-
We don't stand there collecting 5 cents at a
Right.
time.
but let me
They
just get,
collect it, they report it, and they give it to us.
you asked a question about credit card. There is no giving of funds. Okay? What it is they have to, anyone that applies for it is for a tangible asset, which the township retains ownership of it. We place an asset tag on it. So it's township property still. So there's been no money given away to any private organization. They get to use it, but it's our property still. That's how it's handled. Okay? So there's no giving away. I just wanted to make
I
sure.
can make the same analogy. The county gives us the money. They account for it. They report on it. It's the same thing.
Like I said, you need to take the dispute up with the county, because this is the recommendation that came our way to move, for us to put this resolution on there.
Right.
You
And
know,
honestly, I would like my township committee to be on our side on that. Because quite honestly, our library board has made your library and mine and theirs a jewel of the system.
And we agree with
And,
you.
you
We,
know-
we agree with you, and that's why we're.
we'll have the
But,
same
but
people
that's-
but you're
but-
talking about
No,
that we
we're not.
contribute widgets. We don't
No,
contribute
no.
widgets.
No, I'm
Well, we said
sorry, I made an
we were making
example
it
about
an
Zumba,
analogy.
and I
The
got
issue
yelled at,
here
so I
is
wanted
though
to use a different example.
You continue to indicate that we're somehow requiring you to disband your 501c3, which is not the case
I
at
know
all.
that.
That organization can continue, you can continue to raise money, you can continue to do the wonderful things that you do for the library. What we have asked is that if there is an advisory board, that is under the jurisdiction of the Township Committee, just like all the other advisory boards for the libraries are in the county, and there's public oversight of the public funds. That is what we've asked for.
Come to our
That
board
doesn't.
meetings.
It's
Come
not
to
the
our board
same, because
meeting.
even if I came to the board meeting, do I have any say in what you do?
Absolutely.
No, I absolutely do not. You can choose to do whatever you
We're
want
not a
with
voting
it.
member of the board, Judy, let's be clear.
So what?
So we
I mean,
can't,
our-
we
our
can give you a
board-
recommendation.
Our
but
So
board
it wouldn't
rarely
be-
acts.
Yeah, but
with,
we're not a voting
you know,
member.
a split vote.
But you can choose to do whatever you want. That's the governance piece that you're choosing to ignore here.
I'm not choosing to ignore anything. I'm saying that in the same way that we could come under the umbrella of the Township Committee, the Township Committee could join us at our beneficially independent board, which quite honestly, the public likes. The public does not like politics in their libraries, okay?
And that doesn't change if you keep your 501c3.
Public
We have no role in that whatsoever.
It's run by the
Why
county
would we have
freeholders,
two
which are
meetings a
politics
month
too,
then?
so.
I mean, why would we do that? We would have to have a separate meeting for the Township Board and have a separate meeting for the Library Advisory Board?
Or we can appoint other members if you don't want to be involved.
Or we could what?
Or we could appoint other members if you don't want to be involved.
Of course you can.
Mayor, if you don't mind, because I've also been involved, I just want to net this out because I'm just going in circles here. So it's this simple. It's simply the fine money. It's been going on for 3 years. You can look in the papers. It's been arguing with the county. What the mayor and the committee are asking here is if you want to continue on this board, they're asking you to come over. And the minuscule, as you put it, was $1,800 around for the fine money. If you want to keep your not-for-profit board, and I sit on many and raise a lot of money for this town and others, then stay on it. So you're going in circles. You want to stay on the 501c board, then stay on it and raise the money and do the great things everybody's doing. I'm not finished. So you can continue to do that. If you want to be on the advisory committee under the township for the minuscule money that we're raising for the fines, then you can do that as well. But to keep going on and saying all these different things, it comes down to the fine money. You're arguing over $1,800 of public money, which is unfair. The mayor and the committee have said it. The attorney said it. The county said it for 3 years. They've been trying to negotiate with you and work on it, and you continue to fight over the fine money. Go to the paper. Go to the comments. It's very simple. So why you continue to sit up here and fight over the fine money when the committee has already told you that your board can stay intact and come over to this side with the fine money? I know you don't really want that. You want to stay on as a 501c, fundraise the money, and give back to the library. We want you to do that too. So I'm not sure where the confusion is. It's almost that simple. So which one do you want?
My confusion is, have you already voted on this? Because it
we
seems
have a
from your
motion, not a vote.
comments that you've already voted on this.
Who's voted?
We are
This is
asking,
called
and
public
we should be
discussion.
really clear. We wanted you to table this item so that we can have a private meeting with all four parties to a contract.
Well, I don't know if
that
Mr.
states that
Auger
any
wants to come up and
change of the
discuss. I think he
contract-
should, because it's 3 years of negotiation. You canceled on Committeeman Thompson 2 weeks ago. You've had the floor for quite a long time here now. I think Mr. Argo has some comments here, because it's not fair that you're saying that there's no type of negotiations going on for the past 3 years. It's unfair.
We have not sat down and negotiated with all 4 parties present. That is what needs to happen under the contract.
I would appreciate if you leave the mic for
Mayor,
a second.
I've
so
read
we
the
can come
contract.
back up.
I don't read that anywhere, and the fine monies, not reflected in the contract.
There is nothing in the branch agreement, which is how we refer to it. It's not a contract, but an agreement. There's nothing in the branch agreement that requires the commission to render fine money to a library advisory board. That came about in 2004 by commission resolution, and it was amended a few years ago. But as 1994.
Correct.
So, but be that as it may, that is a resolution that could just as easily be unresolutioned by the commission to let the fine stay in the locality. So it's not part of the branch agreement.
And that is the fight that we had 3 years ago.
Thank you.
That's the fight we had 3 years ago. And the fine resolution, which was amended in 2013, basically states that each branch which has in place proper financial controls and which has a functioning advisory foundation of the board trustee board shall hold and control its funds for library purposes. That's exactly what we've done. And frankly, having done so for 50 years now, we simply don't see any reason to change the way things are. So,
We hear you.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
Good evening. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Doesn't sound
speak
like
into
it's
the
on. You know,
microphone. Yeah.
you've seen me running
Yeah.
around. I'm old.
As long as you
I'm one of
talk
those old
closely.
people Judy's talking about. But my name anyway is Carter Dreves.
Carter.
And I've been living in Hillsborough now for, moved here in 1987.
Your address, please.
29 Kilmer.
Thank you.
Shortly after we moved here, my wife joined the board. Judy served on the board 9 years, I think 4 of them as president. And after, that's the full term, okay? And then after that, I joined the board, and I served 9 years and 5 of them as president. So I've been around for a while, and they chose to elect me the emeritus member. Yeah, it sounds pretty good, doesn't it? Huh? I like that. It sort of means the old guy.
Sound distinguished.
Sounds distinguished. Maybe it's perspective. And I've heard a lot tonight, and I am not going to get into a confrontation with you or you or you or any of you guys, okay? I don't like this. I think perhaps the one person who could not be here tonight, because it was short notice, I'm sorry by that, but it was short notice to marshal our troops on a snowy night and come out. So this is the note that was sent to Doug a little while ago. This is from Leslie Wise, who's the newly elected president.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie's barely got her feet wet on this one, okay? She says, this is sad news. In earlier posted agenda, it wasn't included. The resolution was not included. We talked about that before. So the addition comes as a surprise. I got a phone call about an hour before this meeting and came hustling over. I hadn't read it till I walked in this room. I'm still having trouble understanding some of it, so I'm sure some of you people can help me with that. And so she sent this to you, Doug, around 4 o'clock. She said, hence my late response. We had asked for a written proposal. Now, let's think about that. I don't think that's really such a bad idea. I'm sensing that there's a lot of misunderstanding. And someone has come to us and has said, become part of the township. I'm not opposed to that. I'm not for it. But I want to know what it means. I want to know how it would function. What we would do. Have any of you really read and understand our bylaws? Doug, have you read our bylaws? Have you read our bylaws? It's a yes or no.
I'm trying to recall. I believe it was 4 years ago.
What? You have read it or you haven't? 4 years ago, I can remember what I got for Christmas. Can you remember?
4 years ago, when I first attended my first meeting of the Hillsborough Advisory Library Commission.
I was there.
Yeah, I believe a copy was distributed at that time.
Okay.
I don't remember 100%. I'm sorry, I don't.
Yeah,
but
okay, on the first page, it says mission, this is what we do. Okay? That's important. That's what the board does. Okay, want to see how that corresponds with how you would see it functioning. I hear, yes, you do the same thing. I like that. But it does delineate Right there, I've got a copy if you want another one. And I think
I would
what
like a
we
copy
were
before you go,
asking,
please.
good, I'll give you one. I think what Leslie was asking was, could you please put this in writing so we could understand it? And I'm sorry we didn't meet with you. I did attend that meeting. I don't have to. I sat in on it. It was a hell of a difficult, pardon my French, but a hell of a difficult time just to pull together people for that meeting. Sorry. Okay?
But I don't understand.
We don't want
respectfully,
this to be
but if you want
a
something in
conversation,
writing,
we don't want this to be a conversation that is sort of in the ether here. We want to see, I think they deserve to see something in black and white. How this would operate. These people don't know how these things operate. So she goes on to say, we had asked for a written proposal. I followed up last week with a call requesting a meeting between us that could happen the prior morning, Monday. I've not been able to cover my personal responsibilities
that's not accurate.
for this evening.
Via the
and
email
so,
that she
as I
sent me,
mentioned
and
and expected,
Mayor, I'd be happy to
I don't
disseminate
interrupt
that.
people either, sir, but maybe that's your standard policy. As I mentioned and expected, I won't be able to meet with you prior to or attend the meeting tonight. I'm concerned, and I think this is the key part, Doug, I'm concerned by the urgency of the timeline. There's a sense of this being rammed through. If you didn't get that, I don't think you sensed it. I know, you talked about this over and over.
You know,
I'm concerned by the urgency of the timeline for the resolution and would ask, respectfully, that the township take the time to put in writing the details, the parameters, the implications, the goals, the objective of this momentous change for our small but historic nonprofit group. We're a group peopled by volunteers. That is very key to Hillsborough. That's why you've got such a great library. These are people who really have their heart and soul in it. I'm very concerned, as the old guy, that there might be people, I see no mechanism for, are you going to get people who really care about the library, or is it going to be a political plump? I've talked to a few other library boards, and I've found that the appointed people often don't come to their meetings. So I am going to second Leish's recommendation that you table this, you put something in writing, and have the parties, I think as Judy said pretty well, sit down together. I don't think you should pass this resolution so quickly. Thank you very much.
Mr. Mayor,
if I could just respond, because I was referenced several times. One, I find it ironic, Carter, that you would say to me that I was cutting you off when you asked me a question about reading the bylaws, and you wouldn't give me a second to try to answer you. So it's ironic that you would quickly say that.
I'll be happy to, we're adults here. Okay, please go.
I was trying, you cut me off again. So I just found it ironic. To the email that I had originally received from Leslie, asked for a meeting sometime within the next few days. She sent me that on Wednesday. I think I got back to her Thursday or Friday and said, how about we meet Tuesday before this meeting? She said that'd be difficult to do. Okay. I'm still willing, and I want to make that clear, Mayor, I'm still willing to meet with anyone to discuss this because, again, I believe that your board has done good work. And no one, again, up here has said that the board has not done good work.
You never did.
But I'm sorry, what?
No, I said you certainly didn't.
Okay. I didn't hear you. I'm sorry. I was talking. So what I would, again, like to do is move the board that you've mentioned has dedicated individuals who care deeply about the library, which, as we referenced, is not a political group currently on there. They are very diverse. A good cross-section of the community would be good to move under the township for advisory purposes. I had hoped that on that meeting that we were going to have on that Thursday, we could have discussed all this. Again, that for some reason I was canceled for coming to that meeting when you guys had a discussion, for whatever reason. And I won't speculate why, but it happened. What I would like to do, and through the mayor, if this resolution does pass tonight, I'd like to continue that discussion with this group. I don't see a reason why we wouldn't continue that discussion. But I just want to make it clear, I've been communicating with Leslie. We didn't come up with a meeting before this. That's unfortunate. I made sure I emailed her early in the day to let her know that I believe that this was going to be on the agenda. I didn't have to do that. It could have just, this meeting could have just happened, and maybe no one from the library would have found out. But that's not the way we operate in the township, and I made sure I reached out to her. I didn't know that she didn't check her emails during the day. I didn't. But I made certainly a good faith effort, Mayor, to reach out to Leslie to try to make sure we could get input from the board.
And I appreciate, I guess the part for me is, and I recognize Leslie's relatively new to the role, but the issue is not a new one. And I guess that's the part that, while I understand the desire to maybe have her brought up to speed, this is an issue that's been circulating for some time now. That's why I do resent the implication that this is somehow being rammed down, because we've talked about it for the better part of 3 years. And I know Committeeman Thompson, when he was mayor, was engaged directly with the advisory board last summer on trying to work a resolution to this. And there hasn't seemed to be that willingness to resolve it. We think we have a fiduciary responsibility here.
Of course.
That's the issue. The part around what you want to do with your 501c3, if you want to set up a separate support board for doing, that's certainly your prerogative. We can continue to do that. But the part that would move under the township, we've made the offer in very good faith, I believe, to have the board as it's presently constituted move under as a township committee advisory board to deal with the public funds. I'm not sure I get where there's this issue that should cause such ire in this matter. Frankly, I'm not seeing it. And maybe you have a different view because you're looking at it differently. I don't. To me, this is take those bodies, move them over, and cover the public funds. If you want to continue to do the good work that you're doing within the not-for-profit, we welcome that. We encourage it, because you're right. The library is a jewel, and we want to continue it. But that doesn't mean it can go outside of the bounds of what public purposes and public funds are how they're supposed to be governed.
I appreciate what you're saying. I have to actually agree with you. I mean, I'm a taxpayer. I agree with you.
Thank you.
There should be oversight on that. I believe, and I'll go on record as saying, I think there has been. I think it's been very fair, and I think it's been beautifully done. For many years, the 26 years that I was involved, I mean, I saw the preparation of the documents, and in those 26 years, those documents lying on the table at each of the 6 meetings, and I saw, Doug, you there once, and Gloria, once you came in, and Carl, you sat through an entire meeting. I remember that one, and you welcome.
I've sat through quite a bit.
Yeah,
I was in there when I was under construction.
Yeah, you were there when you were under construction.
In the beginning.
I sat in the meeting with you, but that actually was the extent of it. And no, Gloria, you're absolutely right. You guys are busy. I know that. We all are busy.
We don't disregard it, but we
No,
always
no,
read
no, no,
minutes.
no.
We always
But
keep
what
up
I'm-
on everything, even if not physically there, was my point.
No, but you do have access to those financial reports. You sure do. And you can study them, and you can look at them and say, out of line. You bought BMWs for the librarian. It's okay, anything happening, but, or you put on a party or something like that. My God, we're very careful. And then we have an audit. So I do think there has been some oversight. Maybe not the type of oversight you're looking for, but I do think it's there. And I do think the implication is kind of, I do think the implications are that it hasn't been.
It's just not.
Ram through, I'd like to address that. All I'm referring to that is purely within the context of happened since this morning. I had no idea this was going to happen tonight, and I don't think Leslie did either. Boom, the resolution's moving along, and I'm reading it, and I'm looking at the resolution, and I'm trying to understand it, and everything is very hurried. Alicia said that quite well. It says one thing, to provide accounting of and transfer to the Township of Hillsborough all funds currently held by the organization. Could someone define that for me? All funds currently held by the organization. It is your resolution.
I would
Could you
recommend council.
Council,
to
could
provide
you,
the legal
what is
definition.
within the scope of all funds currently held by the organization?
The funds, the public funds that you are currently holding, that you received public funds from the Library Commission.
So the resolution explicitly states, the Somerset County Library is hereby authorized and requested to transfer to the Township of Hillsborough Head all fine monies collected at the Hillsborough Library branch.
All fine monies collected at the Hillsborough Library, and that includes anything that we might have in a reserve, or all money. You're taking all the money from the Library Advisory Board, correct?
Fine money.
Well,
Fine money.
yeah, okay, I mean, if somebody, I think the largest contribution we ever received was, somebody gives us $1,000, that's a big deal. Petrox writes a check for $1,000, but it happens.
You keep that one.
But not often.
Unless it's for, a lot of overdue books.
Yeah, there aren't very many of those anymore. Thank you very much. I do urge you to not just pass this resolution, to give it some more consideration and to table it. Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, if I may?
Yeah.
I just want to get, I guess, maybe points of clarification here. The resolution that's before us tonight is strictly dealing with funds. It has nothing to do with the formation of a new library board or commission at this point. So, and I think some of the concerns raised was how would that operate, and I think that is definitely discussions that probably could occur regardless of what happens with this resolution. This resolution is not forming a new township board or commission, so I think we need to make sure that that's clear, that this is strictly about, again, that's I think it's been discussed for 2.5 years, that the county has felt that the public funds should be directed towards the governing body, and that's been their concern this whole time. And they're in partners with the Hillsborough Public Library Advisory Board along those things. So again, that to me is an internal dispute or matter between them, but we're going under the direction of a recommendation of the County Library Commission of how the funds, where the funds should be directed, not a creation of a board or a commission. I think actually Committeeman Thompson is being very gracious about creating a new board or a library board or commission, however we want to call that, involving so that there'll still be the members could still participate in the process, of the allocation or expenditure, of those funds or whatever activities may go on in the library. So I just want to be sure that everyone here is clear as to what this resolution's about. We're not creating a library board or commission tonight. We're not dissolving any library or commission that we don't even have the authority to dissolve. This is merely, again, about the direction of the public funds that are being collected currently today. And again, this has been about 2.5 years in the process. So,
Mayor, may I make one suggestion based upon comments, and to make this resolution even clearer? In the last whereas clause that we insert the word public funds, and in paragraph number 2 of the resolution, we also we implement and put in all public funds currently held. So those two minor changes to make it clear that what we're seeking is the public funds, the funds that those that belong to the public. If that's acceptable to the members.
Okay. Anything else? Come on.
Okay.
We hadn't closed the public yet.
Susan Gulliford, Hunt Club Road. I have one question. They want to take the fine money. I just want to make sure I understand. You will also be taking over the bills, like the phone. I mean, $8,000 a year may not seem a lot to you guys. It seems like a lot to me. The carpet cleaning, all that stuff, then would be paid by the township, by the county library. How?
County.
The county. Okay. So all the bills that the board is currently paying would be paid now by somebody
Don't worry,
else.
the bills will be paid.
They'll be
They'll still
paid,
have the
but
lights
by
on.
somebody else. I mean, you're not going to take the fine money and expect us to still pay the phone bill.
No.
No.
Okay.
You have no obligation. You have no obligation to pay the phone bill.
Okay, because those bills are more than, I mean, I want to make sure you guys understand you're going to be going in the hole for this. Okay, thanks.
Right. Which will continue by the county, because again, as the agreement, and just for the benefits of everyone who may not have had a chance to see the agreement, there's 2 parties involved. One party is the Township of Hillsborough. The other party is the collective group body of the Somerset County Library Commission, Somerset County Freeholders, and the Hillsborough Public Library Advisory Board. So that party has responsibility to pay for whatever bills that have been put into that agreement. So, I think, and I forget who just said it, that the county would probably pick up those because they are that part of that party, part of that entity.
question, just in case we don't get to meet, So how will the finances work? Will somebody on the township board be in charge of doing the finances?
We have a CFO.
Sorry,
The township has a CFO.
on this new committee?
No, there's no new committee being formed tonight.
No, but that's the way that you'd like it
So
to go, though,
the
right?
funds would move and be administered and handled under the governance of the township committee and the local government,
Okay.
and treated just like all the other funds. It would be held in a dedicated fund, but our CFO at the municipality would be responsible for administering the mechanics of how those funds would be distributed.
Okay. So the committee no longer has to do anything else with
Committee
fund-
meaning us?
No,
Oh,
the
board.
library board committee that's
fine
not a
money,
501c3
correct.
anymore. Okay. So will it still work the same way it does now? Like the manager or the director says, I want to cut a hole in the building and build something new. Here's my proposal. Does the new board approve it, and then we have to go to the CFO?
It would be.
I'm just wondering, how
could
does it
be
all
re-
work out?
Well, so again, that is not, the mechanics of how that advisory board would work are not on this resolution. That, we could work through that. But the issue would be, if there was an advisory board under the township committee, it would theoretically take recommendation, or make recommendation to the township committee about things that needed to be done at the library. And then ultimately, we would need to vote to approve or deny those requests. And then the local offices here with CFO and our administrator would then, as they do with all the other funds, put the mechanisms in place and distribute them under the governance that they have to abide by all the other funds we have.
Because right now, it's like the manager comes up with her proposal, or his proposal, and we had Ed, and then we would see if it seems reasonable, like have you bid at 3 different places, things of that nature. And then, so we would, I think, work with them to give the approval. So, but now we would get a recommendation, and then we would throw it at you guys and make sure that you're okay with it. So it's like an extra step, but that's how it would work. I'm just trying to understand the logistics of everything and just have everything that's working. I think that's why Leslie was asking for things in writing, so we'd
We can have a further
understand it.
conversation on how we might create the board. We are not doing that tonight, so we can have those conversations and explain to you how boards and commissions work at the township. They're all handled the same way. Through our CFO and our money, we do have as the mayor said, a fund set to the side. It's not an extra step. It's almost handled the same way you do it now, only under a township jurisdiction, under a board and commission. What you guys do is, another group is up to you and how you want to handle that. But it would be the same process basically through the township, with approval of the township committee and the CFO.
So that fine money would come in. If there was an advisory board, if there were recommendations that how to spend that, they would come in, or the library manager could go directly to our administrator and CFO and say, I'd like to spend some of that money on this, and they would.
So you're just saying that the manager could go directly to the CFO, I need to spend some money, but is that after the township appointed group has?
It depends.
Because
depends
then
on
you
the
almost
urgency,
don't
depends on
you
the-
don't need a board at all then. They would just go directly to the CFO and say, I want some money, and you'd give it. I'm just trying to understand how all this would work, and I think that would help me
Mayor,
understand
if-
it. So maybe we could say, here are 4 dates that we could all meet together.
I would personally look at it
No.
similar to either the Open Space or the Parks and Recreation Committee, where the Director of Parks and Recreation goes before the committee, makes recommendation, what he'd like to see forward. The committee reviews it, says, yeah, that's something we like. Usually the liaison is then notified if we can't be there. At that point, we bring it back to the CFO and to the Township Committee and say, yeah, we'd like to move forward, pardon me, on this proposal. And the Advisory Committee for Open Space, which is probably more appropriate, they view properties that they believe we should purchase. They make a recommendation to the liaison, to the Township Committee, to the CFO. Then we act on that recommendation.
And you would act at a meeting like this or something?
It would have to be during a public meeting, yes.
Yeah, if you want, I can sit down with you later this week, too, to get you through that. I think one of the other examples would be the Cultural Arts Commission, which has a board, and they have a smaller budget, and those folks will make that recommendation to the liaison, and then liaison will bring it back to the committee. So the advisory board is extremely important because they know best where they want to spend that money. So it's a matter of making sure with the CFO that the money they're spending is appropriate through our auditing process. So it's not like somebody puts together a budget for liaison of the committee and says, oh, we hate all these ideas, they don't make any sense. We want to make sure that those expenditures are appropriate through our auditing process. So it's really going through that liaison and going through those meetings and make sure you put that budget together and see what the needs are. The township already spends well over, I believe, like $200,000 with the library now in maintaining it. And as I think was mentioned, we get about $40-some thousand of that over $200,000 for the library. So there's a major, major shortfall. So we understand what it costs to run that library over there.
Getting a little bit closer to being clear.
Okay.
So.
So, the only reason I brought up the direct is if you have regular meetings, right? So you have a meeting once a month, there may be something that comes up where they can't wait till the meeting, so they need something to be done. They could go in and have that authorized. But generally, the process would be that advisory board serves a function of reviewing the proposals, understanding what the needs are, and making those recommendations, generally to the liaison, whoever, and this year it would be,
Okay.
it would be Doug. And then that comes up and, at some point would get voted on, whether it's in a claims list or just a recommendation as part of one of our meetings to authorize the spend. The intent is not to,
Not to stop
and
you
this is
from
where
doing
it's
anything.
not to stop you from doing the work that you do with the library, nor to stop fundraising, because we think that is a very important part of what happens here.
Yeah, the
But it's
501c3
really
is just so
just like every
helpful.
other board that we have, where there's money that's public funds, we think it should be under the same process. And I think the county agrees with that. And we've had, and the frustrating part is that this is not something that popped up yesterday, and I certainly understand your desire to understand more, but this has been ongoing for a while, and I'm not sure how long you've been involved with the board, but it's been an issue that's been out there for a bit. And it's just a small piece of what you do that we're trying to say, allow the municipal government to have that oversight, to control it like we do all the other funds. What you want to do with your not-for-profit, that doesn't change. We're not asking you to change that. We're not looking to change that.
Yeah, it's just been hard because we wanted to meet as a group and then meet with you, and it just seemed a little bit rushed. So we were just wondering if we could just, in the next month or so, like find some dates and then meet and like that. But at least I got a couple of questions answered, so thank you.
I mean, I think my direction from this township committee is still to hold meetings with you regardless of the vote tonight,
Agreed.
to see if we can find a way to move the board underneath the township committee. Because again, I think no matter what, we need some sort of advisory group underneath us, especially now that we're going to be, if this motion is successful, in charge of these public dollars. So, I think the conversations are going to continue. At least I hope they're able to continue.
Anything else from the public?
Lloyd, it's down to you. I said it's down to you, Lloyd, and it's just...
Okay.
Gene, sorry.
Okay, seeing none. Any other comments from the dais? Okay, roll call, please.
Mayor Burchett.
Yes.
Mayor McCauley.
Yes.
Ruben Thompson.
Yes.
Edwin Sarachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delcor.
Yes. We'll move to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve tonight's consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Comments from the dais?
Mayor, I just want to recognize resolution number 7 because I know Sergeant Oldenburg has been a great member of the police department for many years. I had a chance to work with him when I was mayor and serving on different boards in the township. Definitely a great guy, and as well as Officer Selich. He's another dedicated member of our police force. So sorry to see them go, but certainly understand.
We've gotten hit with a little bit of a retirement bug here in town out of the police department. We certainly wish them well. We've been very fortunate with the types of officers that we've had, and we'll certainly miss these two who have been exemplary officers, and I hope they enjoy their retirement.
And also, I want to congratulate our administrator, Anthony Ferrara, to get a new title on his business card, Deputy Zoning Official.
Thank you. I welcome yet another title. And no increase to the taxpayers.
And no new business cards.
Anything else from Ms. Abs? From the floor, roll call, please.
Chairman Bouchette.
Yes.
Chairman McCauley.
Yes.
Chairman Thompson.
Yes.
Chairman Sirachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delacorte.
Yes. Thank you. This.
Claims list.
Oh, sorry, claims
Gotta
list.
pay the bills.
Apologize. Can I have a motion to approve claims list 2016-03.
So moved.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Committeeman Bouchette.
Yes.
Chairman McCauley.
Yes.
Chairman Thompson.
Yes.
Deputy Sirachi.
Yes.
Mayor Delacorte.
Yes. This concludes our regular meeting this evening. May I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Good evening.